streaming. Hier naartoe. Studio. Go live. Dat gaat goed. Die staat er ook allemaal. Die staat daar, dat is goed. Oké. Dashboard houden we daar, dat gaat goed. Okay, students, it's a 1:45 on a Tuesday, February 9th, and today is the first lecture on the course of Multibody Dynamics at Delft University of Technology, a Master of Science course. Unfortunately, there's nobody in the classroom, so I'm talking to a window. When I look in the live stream, I see there are currently 59 viewers, and I hope there will be coming more as we progress. I'm really sorry, this is the way to go, there's no other way. This year even the lectures are a bit different than last year. Last year there was also a live stream, but we had people in the audience. This year, as I will discuss later, we will have 1 hour of lectures in the live stream, and then after that 1 hour questions and answers in the Zoom session. But before we go to all the technicalities and details and sort of the boring stuff, I would say I like to start with an, for me, somewhat inspiring video. So let's see, where are thou video? So this is the video, yeah. And as you may think, oh, it looks a bit archaic. And then indeed you're right. I think the video is even, the movie is even older than I am. I don't remember, but it's old. But without ado, let's just start the movie. I set the sound on max, then my mic will pick it up. You'll hear the camera rolling, right? Holding an even keel on level run. You think, what the heck is going on? Well, this is going on. If we look at this video, then what do we see? We see a so-called monowheel. So it is a contraption which is a guy is riding a vehicle, and the vehicle has only one wheel. Now, usually cars have 4 wheels, which are very stable, and then bicycles have 2 wheels, which you call a single track vehicle, which is also interesting. I kind of have a lab in that. But this is like a mono wheel, and then you think, why the heck would somebody build a mono wheel thing? Well, this guy, James Taylor, he lives in a bit rugged area, and he wants to go around with his dog, and then he thought, well, even on a motorbike it's a bit difficult. And one wheel, wouldn't that be easy to conquer all terrain? So he started building a thing, and he succeeded. And I would say he succeeded even very successfully. And as an engineer, when you see this thing moving, then you would think, well, how the heck does it work? Why doesn't he tip forward or backwards? And how can he make turns? I mean, with one wheel, how do you turn? Maybe you have to lean, but maybe in leaning you fall over. I mean, the whole thing is supported by one point at the bottom, so the thing is probably unstable in all kind of directions. Yeah, this raises a lot of questions, whereas he does have a steering wheel, if you look closely. And oh, this is also, he can start. I mean, I would expect if you start that the whole thing will tilt forward or backward. You have to think about it. Is it backward or forward? Because you have to push against something, and with one wheel, what are you pushing against? And then apparently he just holds level keel and accelerates. Now, if you look closely, you will see something happens with the wheel and with the engine. Then next, of course, this is like he's making a turn, and he has a steering wheel, as I said. So yeah, you could steer, but with one wheel, I mean, how do you steer? He's not turning that one wheel relative to the base, right? So he's doing something else. And if you look closely, then you'll see up front here a big rotating gyro wheel, and I think that is the whole crux for getting the thing turned, because to turn you have to bank, and to bank you have to apply a torque, and you cannot push against anything. So so you need a hand of God actually to do the turning, and the hand of God is in this case the gyro up front, It's a big gyro wheel, and by that you can generate an applied torque by having a fast spinning wheel and then reorientate the wheel, and then the combination of that orientation together with the spinning will give you a torque. Of course, there are a zillion details in the thing why it works. You could also turn it around and say, well, it probably wouldn't work. So why does it work? And here this is also interesting, going over a bump. And actually that is the topic of multibody dynamics. I will promise you at the end of the course you will be able to make a relatively simple model of the machine and demonstrate its proper usage. Now what do we see here? We see that the wheel even became bigger, and the guy became a little bit older. He's now wearing a hat and I think also glasses. Why is it bigger? Well, I always reason like this. It's now a two-seater. And as you can see next to him to the right you have another seat, and that's maybe my guess is that his wife became mad that he was always out there alone, and he said and then he said, oh, but I can build a two-seater, no problem. Now look at the elegance by which the thing is, well, you say riding, but I also would say floats. It's almost like a flying carpet, right, the thing. It really zooms over the area, and again the thing can turn, and if you look at the turning, this is still a straight section, but it can cover all the bumps and it stays level, right? By the way, it's fast, right? The speed is, you could measure it, but I would be totally scared to drive that thing. Look at that. Going around the corner. How does he do it, right? Well, anyway, as I said, and you can continue, all this continues, but let's stop the movie for now. As I said, in this course, Multibody Dynamics, you will learn about how to model this. This is a three-dimensional mechanical system of interconnected rigid bodies. There are drive units in it, and you will learn to make a model of this and then demonstrate its proper use. So that's what I promise. It's a big promise, right? Okay, what are we going to do today? I hope this teaser was really a teaser for you and not a bummer like, oh, what is this? And next I would like to discuss the rules and guidelines and details, because my guess is in some way this course differs a little bit from other courses, in the sense that we have weekly homework assignments, we have peer review grading, and we have a digital written exam. So for that, let me go to the website, right, to Brightspace, and then, yeah, let's get myself a little bit out of the way. Yeah, what shall we do? This looks okay, right? Okay. Maybe we put this for now a bit over there. Okay, so if you go to Brightspace and you look up the course, then this is the entry page, the home page for this course, and there's a welcome message where I say, well, welcome to the course, it's great to have you on board. The information on Brightspace is not yet complete. I'm working on it. Well, actually, with a lot of stress this morning, I almost finished. I finished most of the stuff, so it should be reasonably complete, the information. So let's look at that. So we look at the content. By the way, those of you who want to use the chat now to discuss, I cannot look at the chat for discussions and questions and answers. That's really in the second hour. Okay, so table of contents, let's start at the beginning, and that is course description. And in here I always say, well, what is multibody dynamics? This is really a how-to course. So in this course, I will have a systematic approach to generate solution of equation of motion of mechanical system consisting of multiple interconnected bodies. So that is what you're going to learn. And it differs a lot from other courses like advanced dynamics, where you learn about Hamiltonian system and Lagrangian systems and very simplified, idealized versions. Here our goal is to finally make a simulation tool, right? So really coding, really compute stuff. There are weekly homework assignments, and they are peer graded. So you will be grading the homework of your peers, of your colleagues. And there's a digital exam. The homework is usually due in a week after handout, and then the grading is done when the submission is on Tuesday. Then the grading has to be done by Friday, and then you can reflect on the grading, and that has to be done by Monday, and then the cycle is around. Of course, in doing the homework is strictly individual. You cannot say, oh, let's sit together and make one report. It's an individual assignment. However, I always encourage you to work together. I mean, you are in a learning stage now. You have to learn, and for that you ask advice from colleagues and friends, or from Studeer Snel, or whatever source, and that you will use to learn the material. So it's very good to work together, but always stay within the boundaries of academic integrity. And I cannot stress that even more clearly. Academic integrity is very important here, because you will be using material of others, and you have to be strictly clear about what is yours and what is others. I will come back in a second to that. Okay, the topics. Well, there's a whole list of topics, of course, here with all the things. I'm not gonna read that out. We do have a textbook. Here I have a beautiful textbook. It's a lot of pages, 600 pages. This is the newest edition, the 3rd edition. There is also one from last year. That's this guy, the blue book. That's a bit thinner, so if you compare that, then really the red book is a lot thicker, right? Because there are far more examples and worked out solutions in this book. It's $20, so don't bother. If you have the blue book, give it to your friend and use the red book this year. You can purchase it at Leegwater or the VSSD, around €20. VSSD asks a little bit more because they store it and whatever, I don't know. I don't know about the details with the corona measures, how that goes now, but just call Leegwater or call the VSSD and ask them, how can I pay, where can I pick it up? Homework assignments, I talked already. Why peer review? Well, you can learn a lot from the mistakes from others. That's actually the basic thing. So, yeah. The exam, yes, there is an exam, a final exam, and it's a proctored exam, 3 hours, open book, behind the computer. You can take all your MATLAB code or Python code or all your problems, all your solutions, all your paperwork, everything is open book. You can take it with you. But do take material on the USB stick, because on the computer there's MATLAB or Python or whatever you need. And the problems you get the exam problems are like the homework problems, a question out of the homework problems. So so probably you can reuse some of the code you made in your homework problems, and by that, yeah, you can demonstrate that you really have the knowledge. Well, sometimes people do not have such a good performance on an exam. They are nervous or for some other kind of reasons, and I understand. And of course, you put already a lot amount of work in this course by doing the homework. So the course grade, the final course grade, is 60% on your average homework grade and 40% on the digital exam. And that's only when your digital exam grade is lower than your homework grade. If your digital exam grade is higher, then that is your final grade. So that is the thing. Well, then there's a vast amount of literature. My colleague Jason Moore said, oh, this is a sort of disencouraging. Well, it's just for those who want some more background. You can go to a library or online and look for these books and look at more details. Okay, that is just the course information, right? Now let's go to the next issue there on the list. What do we have? Course information. And then we have textbook. Well, I already talked about the textbook, right? I even demonstrated the textbook. But for you, I will show the page, show the red book, and where you can get it, what does it cost, and what is the difference with the previous versions. Okay, that's the textbook. What is the next? Oh yeah, who is who, the page of who is who. So staff, TAs, and office hours. Well, clearly, why I'm one of the members of the staff. That's an old picture. I should replace that. Yes, thank you. So my contact information here, email, phone, work phone. But this is actually the most important one. So if you click on this, you come to my home page. There you see the updated picture. What I'm about, all my contact information, also my mobile phone number. And I invite you to use every channel you like to communicate with me. So if you say, well, I'm not such an email guy, I'm more for WhatsApp, then just send me in WhatsApp. But please don't say, hi, I have a question about assignment 3. Is it 10 or 4? Be a bit polite. Say, hi, I'm Jonathan. I'm following your course and I really enjoy. Well, if you enjoy. And if you don't enjoy, you can say, I don't enjoy, but can you help me with this or that? And usually I answer WhatsApp messages within 1 or 2 hours. It depends on what I'm doing. Whereas email is a bit slower. If you want to meet, you can also look at my personal information, birthday and relatives, seasons, greetings, whatever. Schedule. If you want to schedule a meeting with me, then you can look in beforehand at my calendar and see if there are openings. As you can see now, there are some places blocked, and that has to do with the season outside. You know, the Dutch get totally crazy when we have frozen water, open waterways. So the moment when I can go skating on the open waterways, I'm gone. I'm skating. Okay. Not so interesting. What else? For the rest, far more interesting material, but not for now. That was all about me. Then our head TA, one of the most important persons in this whole course, is Rosanne Pries. You can reach her via the Gmail account of the course, and there will be office hours on Monday from 12:30 to 1:30 in this Zoom. And of course you will be available in the questions and answers after this, in the second hour of this lecture series. And then we have Christos, who is a regular TA and who will do a lot of work for us and will also be in the Q&A in the office hours and in the Q&A in the second hour of the lecture. Okay, then we go, where were we? That was everything about the course information. Yeah, no more lectures. Oh yeah, lectures, of course. Yeah, lectures is a new thing, right? Okay, lectures. The weekly lectures are on Tuesdays from 1:45 to 4. And due to the corona measures, it is in 2 parts. So the first part is 1 hour live stream and recording here on YouTube. Well, I used to have 2 hours of lecture, which were both in the room and live streamed and recorded. that was sufficient to cover the material. 1 hour is not sufficient to cover the material. However, we do have the book, and everything is clearly written down in the book, so don't worry. Still, if you like my talking head, you can also go to previous year's lectures. All the lectures from last year were also recorded, and you can watch those. Those are really extensive. And then as a bonus, you even get a in-class quiz there at the beginning. I'm not doing any in-class quizzes here because, well, that's sort of stupid. But only a live stream. There is no social interaction. You cannot really discuss with your colleagues. Yeah, in a chat, but then you usually see in the chat it's item A or it's item D, and that's not very helpful, because the in-class quiz was there to see what is my knowledge level and to have you discuss with your peers and colleagues. Like, no, that is wrong. I know it's 10 and it must be 4 and up and down, and that's not going to happen. So I skipped that in-class quiz for now. Okay, that's the first hour. Second hour is after lecture, questions and answers in Zoom, and it will start directly after this one. And here's the Zoom address, which is stationary for the whole course. Then we have a whole nice list of dates, numbers and content. Behind that, the chapter in the book. So as you see, today we are rather busy because we have to do 9 chapters. 9 chapters from the book is a big part, right? So it's about this part is what we're going to do now in 10 minutes. Well, not true, of course, because that is actually the advanced dynamics course you did in the second year. So it's for you a little bit rehearsal. And there's a homework assignment. Homework assignment 0 is there, and that's to get used to the homework assignment and the peer review system and all these ins and outs. The grade for this does not count unless it helps your homework average. For details we can look at it. Then we see all the topics. You see there are 12 homework assignments. The 10 highest scored assignments count for the homework average. And that's because we cannot do any late homework, because then the whole system of peer review and so will get totally confused. So there is no late homework. On the other hand, we are all humans, so you can sometimes have a day off, or you miss something, or the cat died, or something happened. Something happened, and yes, that can happen. And so then that week you did not do your homework. Okay, no problem. 2 of the lowest grades just drop out. That having said, where are the assignments? Well, the assignments are in the peer review system, so I will get to that, the recording. Yeah, let's come to the homework. That's the, and well, if you look at the homework page, that's the most busy page which there is. And why is that? Well, because homework is the most important part of the course. It's where you gonna learn the material. You're not gonna learn material by me just doing a talking head and working on my what is it, on my iPad, and it's sort of it stimulates you hopefully to study the material, but in the end you will get to know the material by doing. That's also how I call the course. It's a how-to course. So we have these weekly homework assignments. There's a whole schematic on when to hand in, when the handout is, when the hand in is, and when the reviews are assigned, when the reviews have to be done and the reflection is open, and when the reflection on the review has to be done. And it's a pretty tight schedule. On Tuesdays there's a handout, then the next Tuesday you have to hand it in electronically in the peer review system, and then an hour later the review are assigned. You get 3 review tasks. You have until Friday midnight to finish those reviews. And how do you do the review? Because the solutions are then posted at this moment in time. Solutions of that homework assignment are posted. You can do the review, you finish them by Friday. And when they're finished by Friday, you can reflect on the ones you received. So you also receive, not only do you do 3 reviews, but you also receive 3 reviews. And you reflect on those, and you have until Monday midnight to reflect on those. And why the reflection? Well, then you can say, oh, that was a perfect review. I learned a lot from this. Or I think this review was not okay. He made errors there. And you can just mark that out there. And we monitor those. And then we act accordingly. Okay. Sort of boring. I just have to continue. This is sort of boring, but I want to still show some highlights of this, because first of all, I expect you to read all these items, and that's necessary because otherwise you have no clue how to do that. So how to use the peer review system? Well, actually that's maybe not so important now. Let's start with the most important thing in the whole course, and that is go back to homework. Let's go back to how will your grades be calculated, right? Because that is finally the goal. Why are you taking the course? Well, some of you may say because I want to learn multibody dynamics, but most of you say because I want to have a pass grade for this course, right? So how do you get that? Well, let's see. So how will your grades be calculated? So these are the details in that. Your final grade, so that's just the grade you get in Osiris for the course, is 60% on your homework grade and 40% on the exam grade. Unless the exam grade is higher, and then your homework grade, and then the final grade is your exam grade. Okay. What is your exam grade? Your exam grade is the grades which you get at the Proctor Digital 3-hour exam. For details, see the exam section. I'm still working on that, but it's very simple. 3 assignments with different stages in the assignment and some help on the way. Just 3 grades averaged, and that's your grade, your exam grade. This week I will fill in all the details there. But it will take a long time before we have the exam, so no hurries, no worries. Okay, the other element was homework grade. What is a homework grade? Your homework grade is the average of the 10 best out of the 12 weekly homework grades. And so homework assignment 0 is not counted for, but only helps if it can increase your average. And as I said, 2 drop out because we don't have late homework. What is your weekly homework grade? Well, your weekly homework grade is 70% on your submission, so that's the work you hand in and which is then peer reviewed, and 30% on your review grade. Okay, what is your submission grade? Well, your submission grade is the median of the 3 peer review grades. So it's the median of the 3 grades. It's not the average. It's not the highest, it's not the lowest, it's the median. Now there's a whole philosophy about this median, and that has to do that not every reviewer is as good as any other reviewer. And let me show 2 extreme cases. Suppose you have the following reviews: a 10, a 10 and a 1. What would be a fair grade? Well, not the 1 and not the average. What is the average? 21 divided by 3, that's a 7. That's not fair. Apparently something went wrong with one of the reviewers. This 1 is probably not correct. So 10 makes sense, right? Which is, oh, that's the median. Oh, that sounds good. Now the other way around, you have a 1, a 1 and a 10. Well, you would say, oh, that's 12 points, and if I average, that's 4, so I get a 4 out of 10 for this homework. But looking at those scores, you say, well, there's probably something not right with that 10. The 2 ones are probably more right, so I would say 1. Or, oh, that's the median, actually. And then somebody would say, well, no, I had a 6, 7, and 8. Well, the average is 7, and by George, the median is also a 7. So, well, you can continue for a long time, but this sort of works, this median thing. Okay, If you didn't get 3 reviews, you got less, then we have another median definition, and the median is then just the max. Think about it. Okay, your review grade, what is that? Well, that's even more complex than the submission grade. And there's really a lot of artificial intelligence involved here. And real intelligence actually also of you for understanding. What is your review grade? Well, it's based on how well you did your review compared to your peers. So in each review you did, we compare your grade with the grade as determined by the other 2 reviewers, and then take the absolute difference of your grade with the median, which was the submission grade. So let me take an example. We have a 1, a 7 and a 10. And the submission grade for that thing is 7. What does the first reviewer get? Well, 1 and the median is 7, so the difference is 6. So he gets a 4 out of 10 for this, 10 minus 6. The second one, 7 minus 7 is 0, so he gets a 10, a perfect review. And the 10, well, the 10 minus 7 is 3 in absolute sense, and then 10 minus 3 is 7, so he gets a 7. That seems rather fair. And then your review grade is the average of these 3 scores, because there were 3 reviews. Okay, as I said, most important part, right? Let's continue. Now we know how the grades are. Now we have to know a little bit about the rules and the guidelines for your homework and how to use the peer review system. And let me first start with the rules and the guidelines for the homework. And again, I'm not starting with some boring rules, but homework 1, not like this. Now, I think the title already explains what's going on, right? Homework 1, not like this. Let me see. How does that look? So that's called not like this. Why is it called not like this? Well, there was no staple. There's no it doesn't tell you what it's about. It starts with some scribbling and then some random text and then some formulas and then some, well, this is okay, I have no problem, but I have no clue what is going on. I don't know what the problem is. Is this a solution or the problem, or so totally unclear. So this is a 0 out of 10. Okay, next. So that was not like this, but like this. And you would say, oh, that's nicely typed in LaTeX and with different fonts and pictures and so on. And well, but like this is not typeset, and that's not an issue with me. Typesetting is not important. First of all, it starts with the academic integrity statement. Handwritten, you write down, my work is in entirely accordance with the academic integrity, in your own handwriting, and don't copy mine and paste it in. Write it by hand on the thing. And if you don't have write it on a paper, scan it and add it to the PDF. And then it says, of course, what homework assignment, what is the due date, and then it says what the problem is, what it's going to do. And then it shows pictures, and it has definitions of what I'm supposed to see in this picture. It has sentences. The density of each rod is, and not density number, or scissors, or so this is the way to go. And it may again still look a bit like, oh, it's not so very well readable and a bit scribbly, but that's no problem. If you think your peers can read your handwriting, and if it's if content-wise it's clear, that's okay. Of course, you can go in elaborate work to do nice typesetting, but that's not really necessary. Okay, so that is the sort of the formatting type of way how I expect homework to be. Then what are the rules and the guidelines? Rules and guidelines are homework is practicing. It's not a test nor an exam. If you don't master the material, look it up, ask for help. your peers, Google, old solutions, Studio Snel.nl, whatever. But all within the rules and regulations. And what are the rules and regulations? Well, first of all, on top you have to say, what is this about? Which homework assignment, what is the due date? Then in your handwriting, you write this sentence at the top. Make sure that it's anonymous. Don't put your name on it, because if your name is there, then your peers will see, oh, that's Pietje and I hate Pietje, so I will give him a 1. Or, hey, that's Pietje, I love Pietje, so I will give him a 10. We don't want that. And then rule number 4 is the most complex to explain. At the top, clearly acknowledge the help from others, from TAs, from sources, books, but for the lecture notes and the text, that's obvious that you use that. And I just work by example. So if somebody helped you, you could say, well, Mary Jones pointed out to me that I needed to draw a second free body diagram. Right? That was helpful, and Mary Jones told you. Or Nadia Schout showed me how to do problem 3 from start to finish. That's also correct. I mean, if you then copied that, then you learned how to do that. Or I basically copied this solution from the posted solutions. That's also okay. However, if we then see that that is done in a number of, every time you say, oh, I copied the posted solutions, then we say, hey, hold on, student. This is not a copy course. This is a multi-body dynamics course. So if you keep on copying, I'm going to disregard the submissions. You have to show some originality in that. So it's a thin line, of course, I understand, but be clear about what is yours and others. And if your peer reviewers or TAs think you took too much, then we will tell you. And about academic integrity, you can read either at Cornell or at the Delft. There's now also a nice ethical code. And in doubt, just ask me. Just call me, WhatsApp me, email me, whatever. All computer code should be in your report. And please put a comment in between, otherwise people don't know what you're doing. Rule number 6, your work should lead out neatly enough to be read by someone who does not know the problem. So don't expect that, say, oh yeah, he's done the problem, so he knows how it goes. No. Your job as an engineer is not to get the right answer, but to get the answer right. And I repeat that. Your job as an engineer is not to get the right answer, but to get the answer right. So in the sense, getting the answer right is meaning in a convincing way you show this is the answer to the problem. That is the answer right. And the right answer is 3.141592, right, for pi. Be concise. There was Blaise Pascal wrote once to a friend, well, I'm sorry, this letter is rather long because I didn't have time to make it shorter. Which is true. I mean, spend a little bit time on making a nice, concise report. When in doubt, ask me. Okay, rules and guidelines. Then for the peer review system, what are we going to do? Yeah, maybe this one, maybe I'll talk about this one and then we'll sort of stop, I guess. We'll go to the Zoom. So what is interesting, here we talk about the peer review system, how the grading is done, but also which system are we using. And also the workflow. The workflow is an important thing, of course. So let's just say, okay, I've read this. You haven't, but you should. And then we go to peer review. Okay. Come on, guys. Let me open a new window. Yeah. So when you're here, you have to log in. I log in automatically, but you have to log in. And if you cannot, then use your NetID to make yourself known. And then at the courses, you see a number of courses, and of course you pick not the test course, not this one, but of course you choose Multibody Dynamics B. You enter the course, and there you can see under the assignment section, assignment number 0, and then you can see in that assignment that the submissions are open and all kind of details. You probably have a little bit different vision because you're a student. Then what I wanted to say, so we have a submission questionnaire and we have a review questionnaire, and in the submission questionnaire you download the work of, when you do the review, you download the work of others and you annotate that PDF and you then upload that, and then you answer a number of questions about is something present, the academic integrity, and then all the items of the homework you say yes or no or whatever. That will come next week. Don't think about that yet. And then of course there's a review questionnaire, and what is that? Well, was the review factually correct? Did the reviewer submit open feedback? Was it constructive? And how would you grade it? That grade has no effect, but for us it's an alarm bell, like, hey, it's going well, or hey, something is going wrong there. Okay, so that was a peer review system. Yeah, and I think, oh yeah, shortcuts, that's an interesting one. Oh yeah, let's finish the workflow. So you go to peer review, you log in, search for the course, enroll, go to assignments, take the assignment, upload your homework as one PDF, no zips, no MP, whatever thing, one PDF, one. Where was I? One PDF. An hour after the submission, you can and then when the submission is closed, an hour after submission deadline, you can download the solution, and you get the 3 review assignments. You do the reviews, complete them, and then you evaluate your own review. And then hopefully, after that whole set is, when the reflection is done, I can download the scores, and from the scores I calculate the grades, and then within 24 hours I will upload them to Brightspace. Hopefully within 24 hours, sometimes it will be a bit longer, but it will work. Shortcuts. Okay, since you submit work and you also have to grade submitted work, this looks like a control system with a closed loop, and in a closed loop system things can go wrong, can go haywire, right? And we call them shortcuts, the closed loops. Those are shortcuts, right? Yeah. There's a short in the circuit. Of course, there are various ways to take shortcuts, and especially for higher grades. And well, one example is show your identity or in a coded way, so your friends know, oh, that's Piet, and I will give Piet a high grade. Don't do that. Just give high grades to others in the hope that you get them too. Don't do that. Copy solutions from others without mentioning. Never do that, because that's breaching academic integrity, and we immediately send an email to the Board of Examiners. We're not going to discuss anything. We just say, that's an academic integrity violation, we report it. And of course there are other ways, like this is also a funny one. Talk to each other and say, hey, why don't we give each other all a 10 out of 10, and if we agree all on that, then everybody gets a 10 out of 10, everybody passes the course and everybody is happy. Well, that's everybody -1, because then I'm not happy and then I'm gonna act, right? That's not the way to go. And how do we know this? Well, we are looking over your shoulder. Somebody is watching you. That's true, because we can go into the system. We have 2 TAs. They're looking at the system. They're looking at similarities, flags, review results. We keep track of that. Finally, if you show a positive attitude, then we can make the whole thing work. And we can learn multibody dynamics and pass the course. If you have any more questions, just ask us. Just write them, go to the Q&A after this, or do WhatsApp, or write an email. With this, I like to stop this first hour, and I will move on to the Zoom session. but I will to the Zoom session, and I will not do the live stream there, and I will not record that. Yeah. Okay, then we go, where's my mouse? Stop the recording here.